Welcome to ninth session. In the previous sessions, from session 1 to session 8, we have covered the module 1 syllabus portions. So in this ninth sessions, we are going to discuss module 2 1D elements analysis of bars and trusses. So in this ninth session, we are going to discuss the bar problem, how to solve different types of bar problems. So first problem. For a given bar problem, determine the nodal displacements, reaction force, elemental strains, and elemental stresses. Given data A1 area for the element 1 it is 400 mm square, area for the element 2 it is A2 200 mm square, and both elements are made up of same material. So E1 and E2 is equal to 210 gigapascal, and both elements lengths are same. L1 is equal to L2 is equal to 100 millimeter, and force F 40 kilonewton is applied at node 3. So in this problem there are three nodes, node 1, node 2, node 3, and there are two elements, element 1 and element 2. So load is applied at node 3 and node 1 it is fully fixed. As we know, stiffness for the first element K1 can be calculated using formula A1 E1 divided by L1. Substitute A1 E1 L1 value, so K1 becomes 8.4 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter. Similarly, we can calculate K2. K2 is equal to A2 E2 divided by L2. Substitute these values, and K2 is equal to 4.2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter. Then we know the governing equations are equilibrium equations. F is equal to K into U. F is the force vector, K is the stiffness matrix, and U is the displacement vector. So this is the elemental matrix for the element 1. So for this element 1 elemental matrix, it is written like this: F1 F2 K1 minus K1 minus K1 K1 U1 U2. So since element 1 it is formed between node 1 and node 2, so here it is numbered like this: 1 2 and 1 2. So similarly, elemental matrix for element 2, it is written like this: F2 F3 is equal to K2 minus K2 minus K2 K2 U2 U3. Here, since element 2 it is formed between node 2 and node 3, so here it is numbered 2 3 2 3. So these numbering will help to write the global stiffness matrix. And in 1D bar problem, each node, say node 1 or node 2 node 3, it is allowed to move only in the x direction, only in the along the x direction. So global matrix can be obtained from elemental matrix. Global matrix F1 F2 F3 K1 minus K1 0 minus K1 K1 plus K2 minus K2 0 minus K2 K2. And since there are three nodes and each node has 1 degree of freedom, so it is a 3 cross 3 matrix. So displacement at node 1 node 2 node 3 it is u1 u2 u3. So substitute the values of k1 and k2. Here, since at node 1 no force is acting, so 0 f1. Similarly at node 2 there is no force is acting, so f2 0. And here at node 3 force acting it is 40 kilonewton, 40 into 10 raised to 3. And here we need to substitute the k1 and k2 values. So this is the global matrix. Here 10 raised to 5 taken common factor from this matrix. So now we need to apply the boundary condition. First we are going to apply the elimination approach. So here in this particular problem, since node 1 it is fully fixed, according to elimination approach, the entire row 1 and entire column 1 can be eliminated. So row 1 and column 1 can be eliminated, and remaining matrix becomes so 0 40 into 10 raised to 3, 10 raised to 5, 12.6 minus 4.2 minus 4.2, 4.2, U2, U3 we need to calculate. So this can be solved by applying the Gauss elimination method, or we can directly use the calculator to solve. So after solving, U2 is equal to 0.0476 millimeter and U3 0.1428 millimeter. So after obtaining U2 and U3 values, we can find the reaction. So here reaction can be obtained since node 1 it is fully fixed. We can obtain the reaction at node 1. So load applied it is at node 3. So reaction can be calculated here similar to the this equation. Here instead of F1, F2, F3 we need to write R1, R2, R3. Here we need to U1, U2, U3 we need to substitute these values of displacements. So since we need to find only R1, since node 1 it is fixed, so we need to multiply this row and column. So R1 can be obtained. R1 is equal to minus 39.984 kilonewton. It is approximately equal to the applied load, but it will be in the opposite direction. Next, elemental strains can also be obtained from the displacements, nodal displacements. So elemental strains for the element 1, it is written epsilon 1 is equal to change in length divided by original length. So it is U2 minus U1 divided by L1, because node 1 it is formed between element 1 it is formed between node 1 and node 2. It is U2 minus U1 divided by L1. Substitute values, and epsilon 1 is equal to 4.76 into 10 raised to minus 4. Similarly, elemental strains for the element 2 can also be calculated. Epsilon 2 is equal to U3 minus U2 divided by L2. Here it is formed between element 2 it is formed between node 2 and node 3. So it is U3 minus U2 divided by length of the element 2. So epsilon 2 is equal to 9.52 into 10 raised to minus 4. After obtaining the strains, we can directly obtain the stresses using Hooke's law. So sigma 1 is equal to E1 into epsilon 1. Substitute E1 and epsilon 1. So sigma 1 is equal to 99.96 Newton per mm square. Similarly, stress at element 2 can be obtained. Sigma 2 is equal to E2 into epsilon 2. E2 it is 210 gigapascal, and substitute the epsilon 2 value. So sigma 2 it is 199.92 Newton per mm square. So now we can solve same problem using penalty approach. So in penalty approach, the fixed condition modeled using spring element, and we need to assign the stiffness of the spring element. So this is the stiffness matrix. So how to find C value stiffness of the spring? Here C is equal to maximum of Kij into 10 raised to 4. Here we need to see which is the having maximum stiffness value in the stiffness global stiffness matrix. So maximum stiffness value it is 12.6 into 10 raised to 5. We need to consider this value and multiply it by 10 raised to 4. So I have considered 10 raised to 4. Even higher values also can be considered. For easy simplification, I consider 10 raised to 4. Then C value it is 12.6 into 10 raised to 5 multiplied by 10 raised to 4. It becomes 12.6 into 10 raised to 9. Now, according to penalty approach, since node 1 it is fully fixed, we need to add a stiffness value in the first diagonal element of the stiffness matrix. We need to add C value in the first diagonal of the stiffness matrix, since node 1 is fixed. Similarly, we need to add a CA1 to the node 1 force vector. So since there is no force acting at node 1, it is 0 plus C into A1. Now we need to substitute, since here at node 1 it is fully fixed, it is not allowed to move in any direction. So since it is fully fixed, A1 should be 0. Now we need to substitute A1 value C in this equation. So this equation becomes here 0, 0, 40 into 10 raised to 3. Here C value substituted. Then we need to apply the Gauss elimination method to find U1, U2 and U3 values. So after Gauss elimination method, we need to find U1, U2, U3. After finding U1, U2, U3, we can find the reactions. So since node 1 only it is constrained, so reaction at node 1 can be obtained from penalty approach. We can obtain reaction R1 is equal to minus C into U1. So strains and stresses can be calculated like previous case, same equation, epsilon 1 is equal to U2 minus U1 divided by L1. Similarly, epsilon 2 is equal to U3 minus U2 divided by L2. And stress can be obtained from strains. Sigma 1 is equal to U1 into epsilon 1. Sigma 2 is equal to E2 into epsilon 2. Next, second problem. For a given bar problem, use penalty approach to determine the nodal displacements, strains, stresses and support reactions. Here load or data it is given, P value 60 kilonewton. Here bar it is considered, area of the bar it is 250 mm square and Young's modulus of the bar it is 20 gigapascal. So here one end of the bar it is fully fixed. Here we can see on the other end, free end of the bar, there is a wall. The gap between the free end of the bar and the wall it is 1.2 millimeter, and force is applied exactly at the center of the bar. So here exactly at the center of the bar, force 60 kilonewton is applied. So here we can see we need to resolve this into two elements and we need to node number. There are three nodes, node 1, node 2 and node 3 and element 1, element 2. So node 1 it is fully fixed. So here load it is applied at node 2. Due to this application of load, first we need to check whether this bar it is going to touch the wall or not. So first we need to consider there are two cases. If it is touching the wall, how to apply the boundary condition, how to consider the boundary condition and solve the problem. If it is not touching the bar due to the application due to the application of the load, then we can neglect the wall and we can solve like previous problem. First we need to find whether this bar, tip of the bar is going to touch the wall or not going to touch the wall. We can obtain, we know that deflection delta L is equal to PL divided by AE. This is the equation to find the deflection of the bar. So here load it is applied at node 2. So here delta L is equal to P into L2 A2 E2. If you substitute these values, here we can deflection or displacement it is 1.8 millimeter, but gap it is only 1.2 millimeter. That means it is a bar it is going to enlarge more than this 1.2 millimeter, that is 1.8 millimeter, but wall it is there exactly from 1.2 millimeter from the free end of the bar. So there is a constraint, it will not allow the bar to move beyond the wall. So how to consider the boundary condition and solve the problem, we can look into. So first we need to consider, we need to find the stiffness of the element 1. So K1 is equal to A1 E1 divided by L1. It is 0.33 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm. So K2 it is both are made up of same material and length also same and area also it is same. K2 and K1 values also almost it is equal. K2 it is 0.33 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per millimeter. So we know the governing equation F is equal to K into U. So this is the elemental matrix for the element 1. Similarly, this is the elemental matrix for the element 2. Then global matrix can be obtained from the elemental matrix. So since there are 3 nodes and each node has only 1 degree of freedom, it is 3 cross 3 matrix. So global matrix F1, F2, F3, K1 minus K1 0 minus K1, K1 plus K2 minus K2 0 minus K2, K2, U1, U2, U3. Now we need to substitute the values K1, K2 and force. Here at node 1 there is no force is acting, 0. At node 2 force is acting, it is 60 kilonewton, it is 60 into 10 raised to 3. At node 3 here there is no load is acting, so 0. and here stiffness values are substituted. Now we need to solve this problem using penalty approach. It is mentioned in the problem. So first we need to find the stiffness of the spring. So since here boundary condition node 1 it is fully fixed and node 3 it is partially fixed. So we need to add the spring here, model the spring at here and also at node 1 and node 3. So stiffness values we need to calculate. So C is equal to maximum of Kij into multiplied by 10 raised to 4. So maximum of Kij value, stiffness value in this matrix, it is 0.66 into 10 raised to 5, then multiplied by 10 raised to 4. So C value becomes 6600 into 10 raised to 5. And since node 1 it is fully fixed, so C can be added at node 1, that is the first diagonal element of the stiffness matrix. And here node 3 it is also partially fixed. C can be added at node 3, that is third diagonal element of the stiffness matrix. C can be added at node 1 as well as at the node 3. So here spring node 1 it is spring, it is not, it is fully fixed. That means here C1 can be added at node 1 and CA3 can be added at node 3. So since node 1 it is fully fixed, A1 should be 0, whereas here at node 3 spring displacement or else this node it is allowed to move like 1.2 millimeter. So A3 value should be 1.2 millimeter and A1 value should be 0. So substitute A1 is equal to 0 and A3 it is 1.2 millimeter and C value in this equation. Then we need to apply the Gauss elimination method to solve the problem. So after Gauss elimination approach, U3 it is 1.1999 millimeter, U2 is 1.50 millimeter and U1 here 7.49 into 10 raised to minus 5 millimeter. Here since node 1 it is fully fixed, U1 value it is obtaining similar to the 0. Next, elemental strains can be obtained from the nodal displacement. Epsilon 1 is equal to U2 minus U1 divided by L1. Substitute U2 and U1 and L1 value. So epsilon 1 is equal to 9.999 into 10 raised to minus 3. Similarly, epsilon 2 it is U3 minus U2 divided by L2. Substitute U3, U2 and L2 value. Epsilon 2 it is minus 2 into 10 raised to minus 3. So from strains and Young's modulus we can obtain the stresses. For stresses for the element 1, sigma 1 is equal to E1 into epsilon 1. So substitute the values. Sigma 1 it is 199.99 Newton per mm square. Sigma 2 E2 into epsilon 2, substitute the values. So sigma 2 is equal to minus 40.133 Newton per mm square. And reaction can be obtained like this from penalty approach. R1, since node 1 it is fully fixed, we need to find the reaction at node 1. R1 is equal to minus C into U1. We need to substitute the C value and U1 value, full entire decimal we need to consider. Then R1 it is minus 49.43 into 10 raised to 3 kilonewton. Similarly, here there is a restriction at node 3. Here also we can obtain we can get the reaction. So R3 it is reaction at node 3 can be obtained minus C into U3. Here U3 value it is U3 it is 1.199 millimeter and allowed it is 1.2 millimeter. So R3 can be calculated minus C into U3. C value here U3 means this obtained value minus actual value, then R3 it is minus 10.57 into 10 raised to 3 kilonewton. Next we will move to third type of problem. Solve for nodal displacement, elemental stresses and support reaction for the given problem. Figure shows a thin plate of uniform 1 millimeter thickness. Young's modulus E is equal to 200 gigapascal. Weight density of the plate it is 76.6 into 10 raised to minus 6 Newton per millimeter cube. In addition to its weight, it is subjected to a point load of 100 Newton at its midpoint, and model the plate with two bar elements. Actually, this is a tapered plate of thickness. It is 1 millimeter. Since thickness it is very less, very less, we can convert this 2D plorum into 1D plorum, and we need to model using two bar elements. So this entire plate, it is divided into two elements, element 1 and element 2, and force it is acting at the exactly at the center of the plate, and length of the plate, it is 240 millimeter, and each element length, it is 120 millimeter. We need to convert this tapered bar plorum into the normal stepped bar plorum. How to convert? So here we need to model this two elements and three nodes, node 1, node 2 and node 3, and force is applied at node 2. So how to convert this tapered bar plorum into the stepped bar plorum? So we know that A1, if you want to calculate area for the element 1, how to calculate area for the element 1? We know the width, bigger width and smaller width. This is the element 1. So W1 is the bigger width and W2 is the smaller width. So W1 it is 60 and W2 it is 45 millimeter. So 60 plus 45 divided by 2, and we need to multiply with a thickness to get the area. Thickness it is 1 millimeter. So A1 it is 52.5 mm square. Similarly, we need to calculate area of the element 2. Say A2 is equal to W2 plus W3. W2 it is this width, it is 45, plus W3 it is 30 millimeter. So 45 plus 30 divided by 2 multiplied by thickness. So A2 area for the element 2, it is 37.5 mm square. Then we need to find the stiffness K1 and K2 for the element 1 and element 2. K1 is equal to A1 E1 divided by L1. Substitute A1 value, E1 value and L1 value. K1 is equal to 8.75 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per mm square. Similarly, we need to calculate K2 value, stiffness for the element 2. K2 is equal to A2 E2 divided by L2. Substitute A2 E2 and L2 value. K2 is equal to 6.25 into 10 raised to 4 Newton per mm. So what is the main difference between previous two plerums and this plerum? In the previous plerums, we are not considered the self weight of the bar. Here in this particular plorum, we are considering the self weight of the bar in addition to the self weight of the bar. So here point load is applied exactly at the mid of the plate, that is applied at node 2. So how to solve this plorum? We can see here. So this is elemental matrix for element 1, elemental matrix for the element 2. So global matrix can be obtained from elemental matrix. Since there are three nodes and each node has only 1 degree of freedom, so order of the stiffness matrix, it is 3 cross 3. Here in this plorum, as I told, it is body force is also given and also externally applied force also given, and how to construct the force vector. Say here, if you consider only body force, the elemental body force for the element 1, for this element, if I want to calculate equation, it is rho 1 is equal to A1 L1 into rho divided by 2. If you substitute A1 value, L1 value and weight density of the material divided by 2, so rho 1 it is 0.241. So this is actually body force for the entire element 1. So since element 1 it is formed between node 1 and node 2, so this is actually right like this. So rho 1 is equal to 0.241 acting at node 1, 0.241 body force acting at node 2. Similarly, we need to calculate elemental body force for element 2. So rho 2 is equal to A2 into L2 into rho divided by 2. Substitute A2 value, L2 value and rho weight density divided by 2. So rho 2 it is 0.17 2, 3. So this is the body force for the element 2. But element 2, it is formed between node 2 and node 3. So we need to write in terms of nodes. So it is body force at node 2, it is 0.1723. Body force at node 3, it is 0.1723. So since node 2 it is common, here since node 2 it is common for element 1 and element 2, here also node 2 0.241 force is acting, body force. At node 2 0.1723 it is acting. In addition to these two body forces at node 2, external force also acting at node 2, that is 100 Newton. So here we can see, here F1, there is no external force acting at node 1, only body force acting at node 1, it is 0.241. So here 0.241. Whereas at node 2, there are two body forces. Here body force 0.241 from this elemental body force for element 1. Similarly, uh, body force acting at node 2, it is 0.1723. So 0.241 here 2, here also 2, body force 0.1723. These are the body forces, plus here external force is applied at node 2, this also considered, plus 100. So at node 3 there is no externally applied force, only body force we need to calculate, consider. Body force, it is at node 3, it is 0.1723. So we need to substitute stiffness value K1 and K2 in this stiffness matrix. Now we can apply the elimination approach. Since node 1 it is fully fixed, so entire row 1 and column 1 can be eliminated. The reduced matrix becomes here 100.4133 plus 100.4133 and F3 it is 0.1723 is equal to 10 raised to 4 common factor 15 minus 6.25 minus 6.25 6.25 U2 U3. We need to calculate displacement at node 2 and displacement at node 3 we need to calculate. We need to apply the Gauss elimination method to obtain the U2 and U3. U2 it is 1.1496 into 10 raised to minus 3 millimeter and U3 it is 1.1523 into 10 raised to minus 3 millimeter. From this nodal displacement we can calculate the reaction. Since only node 1 it is constrained, we can obtain the reaction at node 1. Here reaction at node 1 can be obtained, same stiffness matrix we need to write. Here we need to substitute U1, U2, U3 value. Since node 1 it is fully fixed, 0, node 2 displacement, node 3 displacement here, and we need to calculate reaction at node 1 only. So R1 is equal to, here row and column we need to multiply. So R1 is equal to minus 100.59 kilonewton. Then we can obtain the elemental strains. From elemental strains we can obtain the elemental stresses. So sigma 1 is equal to E1 into epsilon 1. So E1, epsilon 1 can be calculated U2 minus U1 divided by L1. So substitute these values. Sigma 1 is equal to 1.916 Newton per mm square. Similarly, elemental stress for the element 2, that is sigma 2 is equal to E2 into epsilon 2. E2 epsilon 2 it is U3 minus U2 divided by L2. Sigma 2 is equal to 0.00466 Newton per mm square. So this problem, in this problem body force is also given. Along with body force, in addition to body force, externally applied force also given. Another chance is that temperature effect also can be considered. Like if they give temperature difference, how to calculate the elemental temperature force vector. So here elemental displacement vector for body forces, we know the equation. Similarly, if temperature difference and coefficient of thermal expansion it is given for element 1 and element 2, so force vector for the element 1 can be calculated E, Young's modulus of the element, and area of the element, and coefficient of thermal expansion alpha, and change in temperature delta T minus 1 1. So using this formula we can calculate the elemental temperature force for the element 1. That is, no element 1, if it is formed between node 1 and node 2, you will get the same value for node 1 and say node 2. Similarly, for element 2 also, you can calculate the elemental temperature force using this equation. So how to obtain the elemental stresses? For if it is temperature is given, change in temperature is given along with externally applied force. So sigma can be obtained. Sigma is equal to E into epsilon minus E alpha into delta T. If temperature is not given, stress can be obtained. Sigma is equal to E into epsilon. If temperature difference it is given, then we need to find the stresses. Temperature stresses, we need to consider the temperature stress, it is E into alpha into delta T. So total stress sigma is equal to this E into epsilon minus E alpha delta T. So this is the end of the ninth session. Thank you.